So when you open up Finale, you should get a splash screen. Now I have it in my preferences not to do that. So if you're faced with this and you open up Finale and just nothing's there, you go to File and New. And normally you want to go with Document with Setup Wizard. And that's going to give you a lot of choices to go through when you do this. You can pick what you want, the Garriton library. Now, depending on whether or not that's a sound library that's linked to these certain um, default documents. You don't need those, and sometimes people don't install them correctly. So if you're working in a computer lab that I'm not running, you might actually run into where you can't do this. So I'm going to go with Create New Ensemble. You can pick here whether you want the score page to be what size you want. I mean, normally you're going to want a letter for most things. When I say most things that aren't professional. A lot of times you'll do tabloid and cut some things off, legal, and leave it, do legal and landscape. So, but for today, we're just going to do letter. Here you can pick landscape or portrait. Also, these are your part sizes. You can pick landscape or portrait there, and also the size that you want to use. I'm just going to make a piano score. So here we go with next. I'm going to pick piano. You can pick from keyboards, chorus. Chorus will be your SATB and every permutation underneath. But I'm going to pick just keyboard, piano, top two. Very easy. You can also pick your score order, orchestral, marching band, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Our part and our score are the same because we're making a piano score. Hit next. Give the title here. Best piano piece ever. Subtitle. You don't have to do this, obviously. Arranger, you don't have to do that. You can put a copyright if you like. Obviously, pick your time signature. Don't go with common unless you're writing like doing a transcription and you want to keep it common. Anyway, C major, G major, up gives you sharps, downs gives you flats, which makes sense. And basically, something I want to stress is if you're writing in a let's say the piece is an A minor. So C major and A minor are have the same key signature. The problem is that if you don't put this in a minor key, then it's going to spell your chord voicings wrong. It's going to spell your sevenths wrong, and you're going to have to go change them manually, and that's going to take a lot of time. So if it's an A minor, put it in A minor. Don't just say, oh, C major is the same thing. Specify initial tempo marking. You can give it like a word to describe it if you want to. You can give it a pickup measure and also pick the number of measures that you want. I'm going to pick 12. I'm going to finish. Give it a second. Wait for it. All right, there we are. Best piano piece ever. Now notice we have all this extra stuff here. Now we can get rid of that by coming over here to the selection tool and just clicking in it and deleting it. Now if you wanted to change this, all I did was double click it, and notice what you might notice is that it changed it automatically to the text tool. So I could put Arranger, Command A to change it. Just click on this and hit delete and get rid of the score. If you were doing this for a paper, a theory paper or something like that, you probably would want to get rid of the measure numbers. Now you can do that a number of ways, but the down and dirty, quick and easy way of doing it is using the selection tool. Just come over here, drag it off the screen, and it's gone now. It won't print, I promise. So, now, to put music in your measures, I'm going to use the Speedy Entry tool, which I showed you how to get your keyboard working earlier. And I have my trusty keyboard here. Once again, I'm just going to do something really simple. There it is. Okay. Sorry I hadn't used it in a while, so. Come down here to the bass. Don't mind, I need to drop it down an octave. Come over here. Drop it down another octave. Now the thing to remember about entering music in here with the Speedy Entry is that you hold down the piano key that you want to write. So, sorry it's a little loud. You hold it down, and 5 is your quarter note. So 5 is a quarter note. 6 is bigger than 5, so what do you think that's going to be? It's going to be a half note. 7 is bigger, and that's how I made my whole notes. Now notice you get this, there are too many beats in this measure. Do you want to leave the measure alone, delete the extra notes, move the extra notes to the extra measure, and so on and so forth. Keep moving the extra notes until all measures contain the correct number of beats. You can just choose whatever makes musical sense here for you, but usually I'm doing this for a reason, like to make a tuplet, which we'll talk about later, so I would leave the measure alone. But I could delete the extra notes, so now it's just going to turn that whole note into a quarter note. And it did. All right. So then, the next thing I want to show you is how to make a dotted note. Now, obviously, 5 is the quarter note, so 4 is less than 5, so it's going to be an eighth note. So it does these subdivisions. 3 is going to be 16th notes. And I'm holding down the key. It doesn't have to sound, obviously. And 2, 16th notes, 64th notes. You can even go down to 1024th notes if you wanted to, probably. I've never done that before, but quite possible. So anyway, and it fills the measure with the correct number of beats. Gives you a 64th rest and then a 8th note. Okay. An 8th rest, rather. So to make a dot, I'm going to come down here in the bass just to use that and go down. So I'm going to put a 6, which is a half note. And a dot is the period, and that dots it. You can move the arrow keys. I can jump from measure to measure. And if you want to delete something like that, added that quarter rest, I can hit delete. It's gone. Or to make a rest, I can use the buttons while not holding down a key. So when I hold down the quarter note, if I hold down the quarter note key, which is 5, and I'm not holding anything on the keyboard, we get a rest, and it jumps to the next measure. Now you can turn that jumping to the next measure thing off by coming up here and turning off under the Speedy Edit window. Once again, you have to have Speedy selected. And turn off jump to the next measure. So now you'll see when I add my quarter rest, even though the measure is full, it doesn't get rid of them. I mean, it doesn't jump to the next measure, rather. So anyway, that's the end of this tutorial. The next time we'll cover some more advanced topics.